Howdy guys, AutoEdits Jason, and today we're going to be on the Tahoe doing an LED roundup. I ordered a bunch of Auxbeam lights for this thing, headlights, high beams, running lights, tail lights, everything. E for everyone. This is a fun, easy thing to do. I'll show you how to refresh your lenses. Nothing has been purchased new yet. Let's swap some bulbs in and have some fun. So here's all the stuff I can think of to order to get this thing done, including the LED flasher that you'll need to get this done in your rig, because the LEDs have much less resistance. You get that hyper flash if you don't change the relay. I'll show you all of that stuff. We have the 9005 and the 9006, which is the high and low beam. I'll show you how to swap those things in. That's these guys here. This will be an interesting one for me because the headlights on this thing, stock right now, just tired and old, are dismal. If you drive one of these, you know it's really, really bad. Now I did a quick Scotch-Brite and polish on the lenses, so I didn't replace those. I'll show you the tools I use, or the quick technique I use on that to make those just a little bit better. And then I ordered a couple of packages of the 194s here. These are the little ones here, and these go actually in a lot of spots on these rigs. So that's why it's fun to have a bunch of these. I have tail lights, I have backup lights. Now the only lights I had to go outside the Auxbeam catalog of stuff here. I'll have a list of these all in the description, so you could easily get those on Amazon or wherever. And these JDM star lights are switchable lights. So these are the ones that are gonna go in the front for the parking light turn signals on the front of the vehicle, because they have to swap from white to yellow. So these were the only unique ones that I had to get there, but lists will be in the description for all of them. So let's get started in the front. So to remove the headlight without removing the grille is just these two long bolts right here. We'll pop those out. So we'll get started with the headlights, since that's the biggest ticket item here. We'll just pull these two screws out. We'll store them there for now. So we'll just kind of pull this thing out. Just give it a little persuasion there. And then on the back side here, you'll notice they twist, I think it's what, a quarter turn, and then out. Twist a quarter turn, and then out. So then now that we have that out, we can set that here for now. So that's the high beam, move that. Low beam, we'll remove that. Now the 9006 is the low beam, so let's just go ahead and load that up right now. And that just simply goes in, same thing, quarter turn. We'll just put it back in. And then the 9005 is the high beam. Same drill here. Quarter turn, into position. They both should look like that. And then what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and get them plugged in. So you just are adding, see they have this little cooling fan here, and this is how these will stay cool. And so it's interesting that the older bulbs generate heat at the bulb. These generate heat in the housing and the power supply. So that's what that bulb is there to help eliminate. We'll go ahead and plug these in to the stock connectors. Boom. And then we'll just feed these little bit of extra wiring down inside behind the grill there. This just goes right back into place like this. And we'll take our little bolts back into place. No. Dose. Those don't have to go super tight. Now this headlight's done, and I haven't adjusted the aim of these things. They actually were aimed fine, they just didn't have any luminance to them. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. So while we're here, let's go ahead and get the bulbs replaced in the parking / turn signal area here. Now I use a manual screwdriver when I'm working on old plastic, screws into old plastic and things like that. So that's what I would recommend. You could obviously buzz these things off with a power drill, but I like this feel. It gives me a better feel for these things. I strip out less and cause less damage when I just take that extra second to do it this way. So one thing I did notice is that this light was out. If you notice in the before, check out this before shot. This parking light has been out ever since I got this thing. So this will be a nice thing to just go ahead and remedy. Let's see if we can keep these from escaping on us there. And then likewise here, I think it's a quarter turn. We'll do the same thing, boom, quarter turn out. Let's see, quarter turn out. And these bulbs are the famous 3057 bulbs. And now they go up, you can do the 3157, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna replace it with these guys here. Now there's a dual filament, and that's what the 3057, 3157, and I think there's even more compatibility going up besides that. So it's a push. So you'll see there's some leftover dielectric grease from when this got put together a million years ago. And you'll notice that the rest of our lights have the modern style push into a clip, and then these are the only ones left on this thing that have this old school socket style light. So we'll go ahead and get one of these things, and the cool things about this one is that it'll do turn signal and amber, and then running lights will be actually white, so it'll be kind of fun to see if this works. And then the only other thing you have to watch out for is you'll notice that the pins on this thing are offset. So one is shallow, one is deep. So you just got to make sure that you get it back into this thing that way. So we'll just make sure that we have the deep pin going all the way down. And it'll feel right when you get it that way. You can force it in the other way. I've actually seen that happen lots of times. And this is one of the reasons why you have to order 2 of these little kits here, is that there's 2 bulbs per side. So just double check. So now what we'll do is replace this bulb in the corner, and that's with one of the 194s. And you can actually see this one's all crazed and dark because it's been blown out for a zillion years. So we'll grab one of our fun 194s here. And the cool thing about these is that they just literally slot right into place like that, and we'll just tuck that right back into place. And so now we're gonna go ahead and put these back into the housing, and that's the same thing. Push it into place there, quarter turn, snaps into place. I love that when it feels positive reinforcement. Boom, boom, and boom. So let's go ahead and screw this back in. And so these don't have to be that tight. That's why I like doing this by hand. Just snug these bad boys down, keep them in place and keep them from escaping. And then just snug them, and that's why you have that good feel, calibrated elbow. That side is done. Let's get this other side and then turn them on and see what we got. Now before I swap the last bulbs in over here, I thought I'd just give you a quick how-to on what I did to just refresh these lenses here. These were really cloudy and yellow before I started here, and all I did was take a little of the gray Scotch-Brite. You don't definitely want the red or anything aggressive here. The gray is very gentle. You use a little bit of soapy water and you just sand some of the haze off, and then you use, now this is the stuff I showed you guys when I did years ago a touch-up paint thing. And now this is it's just a really gentle rubbing compound that I got from Automotive Touch-Up, and this stuff actually worked fantastic to just hand buff that stuff out, and then went down to my local auto parts store and got some 3M plastic polish here, and that brought that back to what I'd say very acceptable levels. Now this is definitely not new. These are actually really cheap to replace, but it's really nice to kind of not just replace them all the time, especially on a rig like this where we're gonna update the bulbs behind them, but we don't have to do the lenses yet. They were really yellow and hazy. You couldn't see any of the detail inside here, and they're actually quite good. I do say so myself, and this is how I did that. So experiment with that on your own. This was probably $15 worth of stuff total, and there you go. So let's swap these bulbs in and get the front done. front's done. Time for a quick test. Headlights on low beam. Very cool. If you guys notice, you'll see here that these things are now white, not amber, and that's really just a kind of a cool change up here. Now, when we hit the hazards or the turn signals, those should alternate to amber, which will be neat. So let's leave headlights on low beam and do hazards. The temperature on these things is definitely much brighter, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that at night. The low beams are going to be much better. This thing was just awful. Let's check out the high beams. I'll go ahead and turn off the hazards. Now, quick assessment of the high beams, definitely much brighter than it was before. Now, the other thing I ordered, and I'm not sure I'm gonna need it yet, let's wait and see how this is this painless kit that actually you can install a relay that turns both the high and the low on at the same time to give you a little bit more coverage. But if you notice here, I have these two holes for more lights. I have Baja Designs lights going in. That's the next video on this thing, is where I have an Auxbeam switch panel and we're gonna install those things. So hold your horses on that one, but that's what this is for. I'm not sure we're gonna need it yet. Let's check it out. But this is a very nice upgrade right here. I'm kind of stoked to see what this is. Makes it more practical in city driving at night. It was not good before. In the rear, there's these two little rubber caps that cover the screws. That'll get the taillight out of the corner of the cab here. So we'll take that out. It's like a game of operation. You don't want to drop it down in there. So unscrew that. So just give it a little twist and a pull. There we go. Then down here is the plug, and then it has all of the housing, the bulbs in this little housing here that we'll pull off as a unit. So we'll just take this off, unclip that, try not to drop it. Now, of course, we're gonna wanna clean the inside of this thing while we're here. Now, let's get busy in here and do a little bit of surgery. So this is the board that has all of the bulbs in it. So you just take a 1/4 inch socket, and we'll take these two screws out, and then this will come out as a unit, and then there are all our bulbs, and you can see how tired these are. Now, these are all 3157 or 3057, and they kind of go up from there. And so then we have 2 for the right side and 2 for the left side, and then these are gonna be the backup lights. So that's these are unique in the sense that they just are very bright one-way lights. So let's go ahead and get these swapped in. The backup light, let's go ahead and start with that one. That's the one down at the bottom here, and we'll just kind of pull that one out. And it's got a little bit of dielectric grease still on there, and we'll just let that sit there. Get one of our new backup lights in place and stuck right in there. We'll take these 2 bulbs here, and that will just be these guys. That comes out. That comes out, and we'll take this package. Oh, it's packaged inside a package. And we'll just go ahead and get these in place. They'll seat right in. And that's it for that guy. And you can kind of see the difference there between these bulbs. I'm curious if that's gonna fit. Is there enough room in there for that? Just barely. It goes right to the edge of this thing, you'll notice. So that's interesting. All right, it should be much, much brighter. I'll be curious to see how much so. We'll do a test. Of course we'll do a test. But again, with the fun factor and kind of upgrade cool factor, it's just neat to do these kind of upgrades to your rig. And again, I did the same technique here. I used the gray Scotch Brite and then that blue rubbing compound, and then followed by that polishing compound, and these things look pretty good. They're not perfect, but they sure do look all right for As my grandpa used to say, they look good enough for the girls I go out with. And there you go. So let's get that thing plugged right back in and installed. Boom, that feels good. And then lead with your tabs that go into the body here. Bottom one first, tilt it to the top one goes in, and everything should just go in place. And you should see your holes line up. So that we'll go ahead and put our screws back in. Again, use a screwdriver, just give that feel. Your calibrated elbow will let you know how tight everything should go. And that feels great. We'll put our little caps back in. Boom. We'll get a rag. We'll wipe our fingerprints off of that. Now you may notice that these guys, the C-pillar trim panels here, are looking pretty fly, and that's because, while I was getting that plastic polish here for the lenses, I picked up a can of the Duplicolor trim and bumper paint and scuffed it with that same exact pad, cleaned it, and then just rattle canned it with this, and this stuff looks amazing. So I'm actually curious to see how long this lasts, but look at this. This whole corner looks super fresh and brand new. So be curious. Let's swap the bulbs into that side and see what our taillights, backup lights all look like now with the LEDs. Now, as I was taking the screws out of the passenger side taillight here, I dropped one inside the housing here, and I thought, oh, this is a good opportunity to teach you guys this cool trick my grandpa taught me, how to magnetize your actual screwdriver. So what you do to magnetize your screwdriver is you take a magnet and you start at the handle of your screwdriver and then just move the magnet, rub the magnet up towards the tip. Now watch this. You have just magnetized your screwdriver and screws will stick to it. How cool is that? And then when you want to reverse that, you just take the magnet and start from the top of the screwdriver and work your way back down to the handle, and your screwdriver is no longer magnetized anymore. How cool is that? Is that a cool trick? That's a very cool trick. Come on, guys, check that out. Not magnetized, magnetized. Pretty cool, right? There you go, you're welcome. Oh, baby. Okay, this right here, huge improvement. That is a big deal right there for backing up. Now, without having to put auxiliary lights back here yet, that's gonna make a big difference. This should hyper flash to the right, hyper flash to the left. So, huge improvement so far. Let me show you where to change that relay. Underneath the dash, there are a couple of relays. This one underneath, right at the floor where above the brake pedal here, is the hazard relay. Now, I'm not sure I need to change that yet. We're gonna try to do the turn signal relay first. So it is up on a bracket inside here underneath the center, the ashtray, this section here. And so then I've just pulled it off of its bracket and we're gonna swap that out. So I'm a bit confused by swapping the flasher relay and getting the hazards to work fine, but I'm not getting my directional flashers actually working correctly at the time. So I think I'm gonna swap that other relay in, but you get the idea of this is what it would look like with the turn signal or the brake lights. That's standard GM fare here. And it's definitely an upgrade. I definitely like that. And I like the fact that I just gave a little bit of extra love to that thing. So, and the reverse lights, the backup lights, definitely a plus. All right, cut to morning of day 2. If you guys have known me at all on this channel, you know I couldn't leave the hyperflash alone. So this morning I went down to my local AutoZone, I did the research, I found a couple of LED compatible flasher relays. I'm gonna show you how to swap both of these things out under the dash and we'll finish this off right. All right, so what you're looking for is just this LED compatible, and you're gonna get an EP28 for the hazards and an EP36L for the flashers. So let's go ahead and swap those things in. This is gonna feel good if we got that. I'm pretty sure we got this thing. So this is gonna feel good to complete it right. So here we go. There we go.
And I'll tuck that in for now. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm not gonna slot it back into its little bracket yet, but we'll just get it out of the way for now.
All right, so now we're key on. Let's go ahead and do running lights and left turn signal. Very cool. Now, there's a cool thing happening here. If you notice, the running lights are white, and then the turn signal color swaps to amber, and if you notice, they actually alternate onto the corner light there. I like that. This is pretty cool little low-key upgrade, right? I like that. Let's do right turn signal, make sure everything's right. I think that that's good. Ah, perfect. All right, and then when we hit the hazards, we should have everything on flash. Headlights on, tail lights are working, everything looks great. Now, that's a good way to finish, don't you think? Way better than having hyper flash and leaving you till next time. All the parts will be in the description for you guys to be able to do something like this wherever you are. I encourage you guys to try all of these fun little upgrades like this. Thank you guys so much for watching and sticking with me to the end. And until next time, enjoy your drive.